this. We're joined on the program this evening by an academician, an economist, and a politician. He is the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party. Senator Datti Baba-Ahmed is our guest on Politics Today tonight. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Pleasure and duty to be here.
Well, it's been a long time coming, really, this conversation. And I'd like us to start from the big event of today, the EndSARS commemoration. It's been 2 years after that infamous date. And for you, your principal, the presidential candidate, your party, and generally the candidacy, what does the EndSARS protests, the aftermath, the agitations, all that surrounds it, what does it mean to you?
Once again, a pleasure to be here. But let me say quickly that the real undertones, the real motives behind EndSARS are yet to be fully uncovered. Probably not even hinted yet. It may not be possible in this era to really know what EndSARS was and what really was behind it. Many times, people have taken the surface and worked with it. I am one of those who would really like to get to the root, behind the roots, whatever motives were there, those individuals, the political underpinnings to what gave rise to EndSARS is what I would like to know. Having told you that we have just been dealing with the surface, it is symbolic to know and appreciate ourselves as Nigerians that we have fellow citizens who can stand up and fight for their rights. I have always said that democracy belongs to those who can practice it. Democratic dividends belong to those who can claim it. And civil liberties belong to those who can take it. EndSARS was an indication that Nigerians could do this. It was a time to be sharing pride of nationhood. That's much said about what the surface has shown. I look forward to a couple of, maybe 1 year or a little over, to really know what happened during EndSARS. SARS was not really the biggest problem at that point in time. There could have been bad governance,
right,
which would have been bigger than SARS and would have seen people like me go all the way to Lagos probably to join. There could have been corruption. There could have been bigotry. There could have been insecurity, the falling naira. Even in the security, SARS was a sub of an aspect. But like I say, in general, it was a time. Now, today is still a time to be proud we have Nigerians who can demand their rights.
Right. I mean, you believe that perhaps there's an undertone that is still yet to be uncovered. But for people who saw the events, some who were part of it, they'll say this was essentially young people, young Nigerians who wanted to take their future in their hands, put an end to police brutality, get justice for incidents that happened in the past, and ensure that generally, as you said, we'll get good governance in that area. But now, particularly for what occurred on this day 2 years ago at the Lekki toll gate, it remains a major point of controversy till date. And you even said that you'd like to get to the root of it. But I'd like to know particularly, do you align with those who describe the events of that night and they strongly believe that it was a massacre?
There was abuse of human rights. There was abuse of procedure. And if some people interpret those as massacre, then yes. However, massacre has different technical meanings. I can't say I know all of it, but I know massacre requires the assailants to have, first of all, no advance notice was given before the attack, and the victims must have been attacked in their own areas. Now, these are well-meaning Nigerians who brought themselves out to a public area and were attacked by security forces that are meant to be protecting their lives and property. The use of massacre is highly debatable, but I can say for sure that, yes, there were abuses of procedure and there were civil rights violations.
Right. So your party has benefited largely from that NSAS movement, it would seem. Would you be doing anything to remedy the grouse of a lot of young people against the government on the incident of that night, the aftermath, youth restiveness, questions of unemployment? If your party is voted into power, would you be doing anything to remedy that? I say that you probably didn't get part of what I said.
Problem, please.
Right, but can you hear me now, Senator?
All right, yeah, I can hear you. Can you repeat, please?
Yes, right, I will. The question is basically, being a party, your candidacy, being a beneficiary, we'll say, of that movement, the NSAS movement, a lot of support has been translated to your party, the candidacy. Would you be doing anything? Do you have plans to remedy the grouse of a lot of young people, lots of Nigerians, of the incident of that night, the youth restiveness, youth unemployment, basically? Do you have anything in particular for the youths in that area?
It is a very heavy statement to make, saying that our party, Labour Party, is a beneficiary of NSAS. While we are always on the side of the people, on the side of good governance, we are against attrition, we're against repression, and all those. You may be more correct to put it in another way. We're not direct beneficiaries of NSAS. We never wanted NSAS to happen. We never wanted any Nigerian whatsoever to be attacked, and accordingly cannot really say and be happy that we are direct beneficiaries.
No, okay, so let me perhaps rephrase and reiterate what I said.
No, let me finish. Let me finish my question. The question you asked. Okay, we benefit from a peaceful Nigeria. That is what we benefit from. We benefit from progress and development. That's what we benefit from. The second part of your question, definitely we are about correcting all the mistakes of bad governance. We are about bringing positive changes. We're about bringing milestone development to the lives of the youth, to the educational system, to the world of work, to all businesses, to all trades. That is where we're about. We have specifically remained focused on the key variables that touch everybody's life: the aged, the youth, the infant, namely security. Second, economy. Third, ensure that the wealth of Nigeria is no longer being stolen the way it is. Then we have gone sectorally to specify that we're going to improve education, improve skills of our youth, make sure they graduate with skills. Those who don't graduate have skills even from secondary schools. And when they are in their worlds of work, we continue to improve those skills, diversify their respective businesses, modernize and modify those businesses, integrate those businesses with local markets, integrate the sectors with African and other international trade links. These are what we're about.
Right. So the question was particularly about the End SARS movement, and it's clear that a good number of supporters of the Labour Party were actively involved in the End SARS movement, calling for an end to police brutality. I mean, it was evident just recently when General Enenche's name was involved or included in the campaign council. A lot of people said, no, it shouldn't be there because of some of the statements he made regarding the End SARS protest at that time, clearly showing that, yes, a lot of people who were involved in the movement are supporters of Labour Party, or do you think that is not right?
The selection of, sorry, there is audio. There's audio.
Oh dear.
There's audio problem.
Not to worry, it's one of the glitches that might come up with technology these days. But just to be sure, can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, I can hear you now.
Okay, I was trying to just reiterate the question I was asking and put it in proper context. This is about the End SARS movement. A lot of people who support the Labour Party were actively involved in the End SARS movement to put an end to police brutality and the rest. And I was referencing, you know, the protests against the inclusion of General Enenche in the campaign council because of the statements he made about the End SARS at that time. So it's an evidence that you have a lot of supporters who were involved in the End SARS protest. But speaking particularly now about, you know, remedying some of the issues that have come up, you've tried to talk specifically about what your government will do if elected into power regarding the youth. But for the young person watching, and I know that question even came up recently about what your government will do about police brutality if elected and all of that, what can they hold on to and such that they can look at the events of End SARS and say, well, if we vote for Labour Party, it will be an end to that?
The youth that you see today are probably going to be the next generation of police officers. The level of training we will give them will be none like we have seen in Nigeria before. The equipment we will provide to the police and security forces will be such like never seen before in Nigeria, thanks to our prudent procurement system and our style of governance and our lifestyles that have been guided by prudence, frugality, and accountability. Who you think are victims of police brutality will most certainly be the leaders of tomorrow and will do the exact opposite by defending the citizens of Nigeria and ensuring there is no police brutality. Because we intend to expand the security forces, particularly the police force. We have been saying this. His Excellency Peter Obi has given you the statistics, the police per, let's call it per capita, is appallingly low, is below all international and African standards, and is below the standards of other countries in our development bracket. We will increase the number of police, and a good number of them are likely going to be victims of End SARS. They will be highly, highly trained and retrained and retrained, and they will be equipped.
All right, quite a number of issues to touch on, really. I mean, the police angle, the End SARS is just one of it. But just to be clear, lots of Nigerians are watching. Would people be free to protest in a civil manner under your government, whichever way they wish to?
Absolutely, yes.
All right. So
yes, a categorical yes.
All right. Just to put that on record, because a lot of people, of course, will be taking notes.
To avoid, no, please put this very, very much on records. I wouldn't, as a leader, invite people to come out and protest, but whenever there's a legitimate, good, peaceful rally or demonstration, I'll be proud to come out as a leader, welcome fellow citizens, speak to their leaders, bring them out of the street, go on a round table and discuss, and we come out and jointly address the crowd. Most welcome. Please keep this on record.
All right. We definitely will.
Saying these, there are times that Nigerians come out in thousands for certain causes. Some are religious, some are tribal, some are, for example, NSARS. I have lamented the fact that I have never seen 100 Nigerians in front of CBN complaining, raising placards peacefully about the falling value of the Naira. 8 months of ASU strike just ended. I didn't see 10 Nigerian students with placards outside the Ministry of Education. And so on. I am fully in support of people claiming and taking their legitimate rights. And I will be in support of it if elected a leader. And I assure you, Peter Obi is also like that.
All right.
He has encouraged us all in his team to be like that.
Okay, so because of time, we'd like to touch on, definitely we will. We'd like to touch on some other issues.
So long as rules are followed.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so, I mean, you mentioned central bank right now, and I just want to ask, you're also an economist. Do you subscribe to those, or at least do you agree with those who believe that the Naira is overvalued at this time?
No. Categorically, no. The factors leading to the fall of the Naira are factors other than economic. There are factors other than transactional. And there is this unfortunate dollarization of the Naira that happened. Go back and see in the last 3 steps, I call them steps, that is sharp increases in, or fall in the value of Naira. During COVID, when compensation or palliatives were given out, so-called when people could not go out to the markets, and it was claimed that cash was taken to go and distribute in the local areas, in the villages, in the markets for people to stay at home, during the sit at home. You remember that it correlated nearly sharply with a fall in the value of the Naira, that is the rise of the dollar. When we fully investigate, we will know other causes, but I can tell you it is not unconnected with the fact that there was excess Naira chasing too few dollars. These are not transactional. Right. It is not an industry or a collection of industries or a collection of businesses that are in need, that is demanding dollars for import of equipment or materials to manufacture. Okay. No. The next round of it was also non-transactional. Each time government doles out money, careless and reckless printing of Naira to meet budget deficits allows excess Naira in the economy that also chases the dollar. So I do not believe the Naira is overvalued. Any further decline in the value of the Naira is a direct assault on the living standards of Nigerians and also a direct assault on the security of Nigeria as a nation.
We're due for a break in just less than 2 minutes. I'll probably try to take you up on 2 issues quickly. First, a follow-up on this. So what value would you be looking to at least improve the Naira to if your party is voted into power?
I am a realist, and nobody just sits down and talks carelessly. The first thing we have to do is to stop the fall of the Naira. Remember what I told you before now? Stop the killing, start the healing. Stop the stealing, start the keeping. Stop the slide, start the climb. Stop the slide of the Naira, the third slogan. stop the slide of the Naira. Naira no longer falling. It is from then you now realistically find out what the actual level of the Naira is. I'm a realist, and I don't talk from two sides, and I don't talk blindly. There are many, many variables, including how much Nigerians love Nigeria in the value of the Naira. The value of the Naira also reflects how much we trust ourselves. Until as a leader I'm able to sit down and find out how much we believe lecturers in front of students can deliver quality, good, credible education to students, until Nigerians are comfortable about how Nigerian medical doctors will treat patients, how nurses keep our hospitals clean, until we know how much we believe in our trust in ourselves, then I can tell you what the Naira will actually be. Until we're able to stop reckless and careless printing of the Naira for unnecessary budget deficits, until we are able to really privatize and commercialize all aspects of governance that do not really have to do with running a government in the third millennium in the 21st century. Government hands off all those money guzzling until we reform our procurement system like I've been advocating, and people don't get away with 90% of government procurements, giving them excess Naira to chase too few dollars. The first thing we have to do, realistically speaking, is stop the slide of the Naira. Once you do that, you determine what to go. And remember, Nigeria is part of an international community. The Naira is linking us to all other countries and economies.
We're due for a break now.
Take it or leave it.
Earlier on.
Other countries, other countries have a say in what.
We need to take that break now. We need to take that break now. But we're not done with this conversation. We'll go on a break, and when we return, we'll continue this conversation. Quite a number of issues to touch on, really. I'm worried about time. And also, we'll return with an analysis of the government's performance amidst ministerial review, the floods, and the agitations from young Nigerians. Just this week, the government held its last ministerial review retreat. Our next guest will be the Minister of Water Resources, Mr. Suleiman Adamu. That's in a moment. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the program. Let's wind down on this conversation, quite an interesting one, with the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Senator Yusuf Datti Baba-Ahmed. He joins us live from our Abuja studio. Thank you so much for staying with us, Senator. I just want to touch on the flood issue, because the presidential candidate of your party said, well, campaigns are on hold. Just to confirm, are campaigns indeed on hold, and how long will this hold be for?
Campaigns by himself, the presidential candidate of Labour Party, His Excellency Peter Obi, by himself, yes, they are on hold because he gives a great deal of attention to the welfare of all citizens. As regards other organs of the campaign, they are at work, so to say, preparing other things, but rallies have held on until His Excellency Governor Peter Obi is satisfied that he has satisfactorily gone around the affected areas and given us further instructions.
All right. I would have to end the conversation at this point, but I do hope that we'll be continuing this in the days to come. I hope I can get your commitment on that.
I'm at your service.
Well, music to my ears. Well, we'd like to thank you so much, Senator Yusuf Datti Baba-Ahmed, the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party. Thank you so much for your time. Clearly, this is an ongoing conversation, and I look forward to doing this again with you. Thank you again.